Monday, September 3rd. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, spam, 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 spam. Wonderful spam.
Let's do this. For those of you who do not live in the United States or are not familiar with the United States and the things that go on here, today, Monday, September 3rd, is a holiday known as Labor Day. It's a holiday that exists pretty much just so that no one has to go to work. It doesn't really, there's nothing else to it. It's Labor Day, where you don't do any labor.
There were fireworks, and that was it.
Yeah, it's not really an exciting day, except for the fact that, you know, there's this long stretch of time on the calendar after the summer where, there haven't been any days off of work since July. So they figure, we'll toss another day off work, just, Labor Day.
Now, traditionally, the way Labor Day is celebrated is the majority of Americans will get into cars and then get up early, sometime in the beginning of the weekend, attempt to drive at least 400 miles, and get stuck in traffic for pretty much an entire day.
Yeah,
They'll then get to a tourist spot, overpay for a hotel, not be able to sit on the beach because there's a billion other people on the beach, have a miserable time. As soon as they try to barbecue, it'll rain. And then they get in their car only to find that everyone else is trying to go home at the same time, and they spend the entire Monday in the car.
Yep, so we decided on Labor Day just to stay home, and we figured, hey, we'll do a Geek Nights also. I was going to do laundry, but I forgot. 3 days I could have done laundry. I didn't.
Man, you didn't do laundry. I did every piece of laundry I own. There is nothing dirty except my dress pants.
I really need to do some, too. I don't know what I'm going to wear tomorrow. But, so I'll do a Geek Nights instead. I'll do laundry tomorrow.
Though I got to say, we got a lot done. I mean, I know Scott's been posting about the new website design we're working on. And
I've been working on for like 2 years?
Yeah, but now it's coming along. We're getting close.
Yeah.
And we've actually got a lot of banners and flyers coming and working on the t-shirts and all that and got all that stuff done. Also, we did, domestic stuff. I cleaned the house and we went shopping, and I gotta say, I was taken aback by a product that I saw in the store.
Well, we went to eat yesterday, like the barbecue place, because, we didn't want to cook. And across the street was the grocery store, and we went in to get some meat that we could eat today.
Granted, we were dumb and we didn't get buns.
Well, we got buns at the gas station. It was all right. But in the grocery store, we saw this package of, diced pork?
Diced ham. The thing is, we're walking, and it's not refrigerated or anything, just in the middle of this aisle, hanging, from a stick with things sticking through it, like hooks, are these packages of diced ham.
They're obviously vacuum sealed. The plastic was right up against the ham, and there was no air or liquid or anything. It was just, little cubes of ham all bunched up, completely sealed tight with plastic.
Now, that in itself is no big deal. I really like ham, and I really like diced ham, but the way it was packaged...
It looked like one of those fake plastic vomits.
It was like a flat piece of plastic, and in the middle of the plastic was this three-dimensional bulge of ham.
Pink chunks. It looked like someone vomited up pink chunks.
Now, I'm a man who really likes his ham, but I got a little nauseous looking at it.
It was not a pleasant thing to behold. I don't know if anyone was going to buy something like that at the grocery store.
People must buy it because they were selling it, and there was a lot of it there.
The grocery store sells a lot of things that nobody buys, So...
Yeah, yet they don't sell a lot of the things I want.
I know.
Remember when they had Koalas March that one time, and we bought, all of them?
Yeah.
And then that night, we realized that there's more trans fat in those than anything else we eat.
Yeah, so whatever. Grocery stores, we need better ones. It sucks.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. We live in a fast gentrifying area, but it hasn't all gentrified yet. So the only grocery store, it's
funny that in the town of Fishkill, there's 2 or 3 grocery stores. And then Wappingers Falls and Poughkeepsie, there's a bajillion grocery stores. In Beacon, the city of Beacon.
The city of Beacon.
There's one really shitty grocery store that's not even, it might as well not exist. It's so shitty.
I can say that I have never in my life gone into that grocery store without incident.
Bad incident.
Yes, very rarely will someone say without incident and be referring to good things.
It could be a good incident. Anyway.
Let's running afoul of an Irishman.
Our food acquisition situation is not ideal.
Yeah. Our hunting and gathering not so optimal right now.
Nope. We're mostly the the wise men, and someone else hunts and gathers.
The worst thing is if we lived in the city, well, one, we wouldn't have to worry because there's a million places to get good food, but two, we could just have someone deliver groceries to us every day.
Yeah, but they don't have the giant supermarkets in the city like we had,
They're good enough. I don't know what your problem is.
I know, because they're just normal-sized supermarkets. It's not, you'll find like a little Stop and Shop. You won't find like a super Stop and Shop or a Wegmans down there.
Right. Anyway,
Yeah.
in the news, because I don't really want to talk about food on a Monday.
No, I'm tired. Why is every podcast, people seem to just want to talk about food, and the listeners want the podcast to just talk about food? Why don't these people watch like the Food Network on TV or something?
Well, they seem to not want to actually hear about food. They want to hear about funny stories relating to food.
I don't get it. The
remember,
most requested podcast discussion topics are always food.
Well, one of the most popular episodes was one where we had our friend Adam on, and all we did was talk about food. Or we had the candy episode.
Like Dave and Joel always get bothered about food too.
Well, because they live in Philly, so they really. I was about to make a joke.
Stop
about
asking
food.
us to talk about food
Or zombies.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, so you all use Google, I assume, because Google is really the only search engine in the world, well, at least in the English-speaking world, worth a shit. In China, Google's not number one. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, but the number one search engine...
The Great Firewall of China?
The Great Wall of Fire?
Yeah, the Great Firewall of China.
The number one search engine in China is something called Baidu, B-A-I-D-U. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Probably number one is that I'm not sure, but I would wager that it just doesn't index things that the Chinese firewall is going to block.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Google often will just pop up and say, sorry, we can't actually link you to there, but rest assured, if you weren't a Chinese citizen, you could view a website on the other side of this
link. At least
link.
I think that's what it does. I'm not sure.
Google's a lot better about it than all the other companies out there, like Yahoo.
Yeah. Oh, the thing is like originally the old search engines, like, whatever, they all lost out to Google in the first place because Google was able to clear its index of all the 404 pages.
Yeah, back in the day, if you went on Yahoo or even altavista.digital
or web crawler,
a lot of times
Lycos,
you'd search and like 5 of the first 10 search results were 404s.
And the other 5 were useless.
Spam.
Yeah. So that's sort of the reason that Google took off, is because of lack of 404s and actual good, worthwhile results. And now,
well, Google also took off for the same reason originally Yahoo did, in that originally the Yahoo front page, like Google, was just, hey, here's the search bar. And it was very minimalist and very simple. And Google is still that way, but Yahoo and every other search engine just has all this garbage on the site that there's no reason you would ever need to click on those links. They're not efficient. They're not going to take you anywhere useful.
Nope.
But Baidu basically has the same business model as Google, at least Google searches. They just have text ads, and other than that, they have the entire Chinese market.
Yeah. So what's the news about Baidu?
The news is that Baidu is still beating Google.
That's it?
Well, actually, I brought this up partly because there's a kind of tangential discussion where I realized as I was going on Dig looking for an article like this, and I saw this article that kind of sparked it, there really aren't any good Web 2.0 indexy nice sites in any language other than English.
Well, there are, but not many.
And not of the scale or quality of things like Dig and Slashdot.
Yeah, well, I think part of that is because most of the internet is in English, first of all. And second of all, while, people in South Korea and Japan and in all these other countries are crazy internet users, there aren't really, and while a greater percentage of their country is wired and wired faster, just the quantity of people.
Yeah,
in
God,
the
did you
US.
see that article about how in a lot of Northern Europe and the Scandinavian countries, they have like 100 megabit fiber just to their house?
Yep. And while a large percentage of their, relatively smaller nation is all wired and intelligent and using the web, the number of people, just flat number of people who are using the internet in like the US and China are the big ones, and everyone else, not so much.
Well, also just in terms of internet culture, I mean, it seems like if you go to the majority of the Japanese web, like Japanese websites and Japanese news sites and all that, they look almost exactly like the US web looked in the middling later 90s.
Yeah.
It's not just Japan. That was just the example.
I know. I definitely think there is something to be studied involving, like, the cross section between the culture of the meat world and the culture of the tech world in different countries, because it seems like in the U.S., while our tech is a lot lower than a lot of other places like South Korea, it seems like, I don't know, there's a bunch of people who really care about it, pushing it forward. And I guess in other countries, while there are people like that, there's not enough to actually make a big dent or a big presence.
I don't know. It might also just be a cultural thing in that partly because the internet, I mean, like it or not world, the U.S. basically invented and built the internet. And, I mean, now it's an international thing, and that's awesome, but for a long time, it was mostly a U.S. thing.
Yeah.
And as a result, it seems like the people who are on the internet in the U.S., not like the average Joe, but like the techie people, there's a lot longer relative history of using the internet. And maybe, I have a feeling that if we fast forward 10 years, Japan and all these other places will look a lot like our internet does now, and will look, well, I'd say like Web 3.0, but Web 3.0 still doesn't mean anything useful.
No. But yeah, we've got, I don't know. We do have a lot of foreign listeners and things, but they're all coming to our English-only site.
There is one Japanese website that is all in Japanese that links to us often called Ultimo Spalpine. I gotta ask Emily to read the site for me.
Yeah.
I translated it once automatically, and I remember we almost used it as our tagline. It said...
It links to Anime Old Order on the left side, so
Yeah.
I think it's some anime-loving blogger who's Asian.
But it said something to the effect of Geeknights is a power podcast.
Yeah, something like that.
I was proud of that.
All right.
That's all I got.
Okay, so this is pretty weak also. You know
Weak
how
sauce.
you know everyone on Dig is always like, we want a picture section. We want a picture section.
Well, they should have a picture section.
They should, and they say they're working on it, you know. It'll be out soon enough. I mean, they upgraded the Dig homepage already to like prepare for the inevitable picture section.
I like what they did with the Dig homepage.
Yeah. But somebody with Perl, and I guess supposedly they say 7 hours of coding using the Dig API, made a site called digpics.com, and it's a Dig picture section.
All right, Dig, hire that kid.
The glove is thrown.
Granted, he used Pearl.
Well, I know, but the point is that open source, the one advantage of it that people don't often see is that you can just make a release, even if stuff isn't really perfect or if stuff isn't 100% complete, like right away. And it sort of looks like when someone does this that they're showing up, Dig. Like, oh, they're showing up Dig. Dig just probably could have done this in 5 hours if they wanted to. The thing is, this isn't integrated with the Dig website. This isn't bug tested so crazily thoroughly to be handled, with a bajillion Dig users. This isn't tested to integrate with all the other parts of the Dig website, like the profile and all that other stuff in new, interesting ways. It's just, basically, I mean, when you look at it, that's what you expect from a Dig picture section. But I'm pretty sure the actual Dig picture section is going to be way above and beyond what this is.
But at the same time, with open source stuff, it's cool that people can do things like this.
Oh, it's very cool, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Imagine if you're a corporation and some kid on the internet, just because he's bored, could just take a product that you've released and make it better. And if you like what they did, you could just say, hey, we're taking that. Congratulations. You want a job?
Yeah, but this, I don't think that this is...
No, this is not that. That was kind of another
that.
tangential discussion.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway,
Well,
if you're looking for a Dig picture section, digpics.com I guess, will hold you over until the real deal.
Yeah, where you don't want to go is Bayimg.
No, Bayim's not so got.
Things of the day.
All right, so my friend, he told me that he bought one of these things recently, and for lack of a better Monday type thing of the day, I'll just show you this cool thing.
So a friend.
Yep.
A friend.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So what this is it's actually a computer. It's just a very small computer. It's like, what is it? It's got to be less than, let's see. It's 6.7 inches by 11.4 inches by, no, that's the size of the case. This is really tiny. It's like a little square.
Well, like Pico ATX?
It's not even ATX. It's just a very small, square circuit board. And it's got an AMD Geode x86 processor, some RAM, like 128 megs or whatever. It's got a BIOS. It's got a serial ATA port. It's got compact flash. It's got freaking a PCI slot.
All right.
It's loaded, right? It's a whole computer on this very small thing. But most of all, It's got 4 network interface holes right there. 1, 2, 3, 4 lined up. So if you want to, I don't know, make a router with, say, that's also, not like a piece of crap Linksys that only does what it's been programmed to do, but actually like a full-on router running Linux with a full firewall and the DHCPs and the DNSs and, the whole business, you could just get one of these little guys and install your Linux on there straight up, and there you go. And it's a little tiny thing. Doesn't even need cooling. I guess it needs a heatsink, but it doesn't need a fan or anything. It's really tiny and really efficient.
Huh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe it has 2 PCI slots. I don't know. It's really crazy. Like, it has USB holes. It's got everything. It's a computer. So actually, if you needed a computer, but you only needed to like browse the web, you could probably get away with this thing.
Well, how much is it?
I don't know. Let's see.
Because if you just need to browse the web, you can buy a really crappy computer for very little money.
Well,
like
$150.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's worth
See,
it.
the Net 5501. Okay, wait, hold on. That was the Net 4501.
Way to do your research, Captain Scott.
Okay, the 5501, the better one, is like $300.
Ha.
It's still not so bad considering the size you're getting. It's smaller than a Mac Mini here.
But then you need to get a monitor and all that.
Well, you need that anyway. Even if you get a Mac Mini.
No, because if you really just need like a crap computer, like just I need to surf the web and that's it.
Oh, you can get the $20 motherboard that we got.
Or not even that. Just buy a used crapo laptop on eBay. The battery's probably shot, but you're going to plug it in and use it as a desktop.
Yeah, you could do that too.
I mean, if you really need crap, go and get crap. Don't get like the fancy
But
crap.
if you want small and quiet, Plus, this is mostly better for use as, say, a router than as a computer.
True. Anyway, speaking of crap.
I mean, you don't need 4 network cards in your computer, do you?
Actually, I have 2 already.
Yeah, but how many of them do you use?
Well, currently 1.
And how many are you ever going to use?
I'm going to have 3 eventually when I put that other NIC in. Then I'm going to disable 2 of them.
That's right. Okay.
Anyway, so speaking of crap, if you want to read a really bad piece of journalism, you should check out this article called Girls of Ghost Hunting by some woman named Christina Silva, the Times staff writer for the St. Petersburg Times.
In Russia?
No.
Oh.
Tampa.
Oh, Florida, St. Petersburg.
Yes. Yes, not Russia. I'd rather see something like this in Russia than the U.S., but I've lost almost all my respect for the St. Petersburg Times. Not that I had much to begin with, but...
Not that I even knew the paper existed. I guess I knew, in theory, but I didn't actually consciously know.
This is an article about a group of women who call themselves Spirits. Spirits is an acronym. I'm not going to bother saying what it stands for.
Stupid people
in really I don't know, whatever. Stupid people and some letters. But they are self-proclaimed ghost experts.
Oh, I'm a ghost expert. They don't exist.
Yeah.
I know everything there is to know about them.
It's kind of like way back when every time there was a flame war on Fark about religion, I just posted a link to the religion and God fact.
The God fact?
Is there a God?
I'm an
No.
expert on religion. I know everything there is to know about religion. It's all lies.
Anyway, so this article, I don't know how this reporter gave so much credulity to these people, but she basically just goes with them and takes everything they say at face value, and they even show pictures of their made-up garbage equipment, and it has all the classics, like they used an IR meter, and they saw a cold spot. Oh shit, it's a ghost, not a draft or anything.
Yeah, it couldn't possibly be, I don't know, a poorly insulated wall.
So then they get some sort of
piece of metal.
Some sort of electromagnetic meter, and they're like, if there's a ghost here, make it spike. And it spiked. If you're male, make it spike, and it spiked. And then they had this conversation with the ghost, and I'm not sure if it's just entirely made up, or if the reporter's just stupid, or what, but it bothers me that semi-legitimate press, like the St. Petersburg Times, and it's not just them, a lot of press in the U.S. give credence to this bullshit, that when speaking with an idiot, someone who actually believes in ghosts and that sort of thing, and claims to have evidence of ghosts, and especially when that evidence is easily and immediately debunked by anyone, the fact that they won't just dismiss these people as idiots, but instead they'll interview them and actually write an article about them and put it in the paper that doesn't just say, I talked to an idiot, He thinks there's ghosts.
Well, we go around and we see, idiots on the internet. We see idiots on the street. And we have to realize that there's idiots all over the place. And we see them all over the place. We interact with them all the time. These idiots are not from any particular profession. They are in all professions equally. So they're idiot journalists, they're idiot plumbers, and they're smart journalists and smart plumbers. Any profession you can think of, they're idiots in that profession. And when they're journalists, you're going to find out because eventually they're going to write something idiotic. If there's an idiotic author, you're going to find out because their book will be stupid. So it's just the people who are in...
I see stupid people.
If the people who are in a position, their occupation doesn't reveal their idiocy to the public, is when you don't know about it. So
see, at least to this woman's credit, the grammar and spelling were okay.
Yeah, because the editor.
And it wasn't as bad as some other... I mean, I've read some journalistic articles in the past where... I could do their job better, and I've never been a reporter, but I could do their job better. Right now, just bet.
Yep. I could do a lot of jobs better than people do it, but you know what? My job pays more.
Yeah,
and
sadly.
And the thing is that...
I'd rather be a journalist. If I could make the same money just writing newspaper articles that I make now...
Well, go apply to do it.
Because they won't pay me that much money.
Yeah. Well, some of them might. It's just hard to get that kind of job.
Yeah. Maybe I should apply to be a tech writer for some local paper or something.
Try to do something. I don't know.
Yeah, if I could make even half my salary, I might just quit. And do that instead.
Go for it.
Oh well.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of a lame thing of the day, but you know what? I'm really sick of just doing stuff on Dig.
You're lucky we're doing a show today because it's like a holiday and stuff. So that's why I'm putting crap news and things of the day.
But seriously, anything I find, if it's not on Dig, it's gonna be on Dig by the time we do the show.
Yeah.
There's no way to avoid it.
Nope.
Unless we really dig into the depths of the internet. But then it's not really a legitimate thing of the day because I didn't just see it. I sought it out, and that's different.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right, so let's get on with it then.
Tonight, spam.
Spam,
now,
spam.
Scott really doesn't
spam,
like spam.
spam,
I think it's
spam,
okay. I mean, while it's kind of disgusting when you get it out of the can, I'll admit, a spam sandwich is actually really good.
Nah, it's disgusting. I'll never eat it.
Have you ever tried it?
Yeah. Once.
When?
Well, I was like a kid.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
you
I'm
sure it was spam?
I'm sure.
How did they prepare it? You can't just eat it out of the can. That's disgusting.
That's what it was. It was, with some other stuff, but it wasn't like changed in any way.
Like what? You cube it, you put it on some crackers with some dip and some sauce and maybe some cheese?
It's a disgusting pink cube of disgusting.
It's not really a cube.
It doesn't
unless
matter.
you cube it.
It's disgusting. Anyway, we're going to actually talk about the other kind of spam.
Yeah, we're not going to go into technical crap. We're not going to get into the history of spam. And the first spam was sent on November 17th.
It was that guy from Digital Digital Equipment Corporation on a news group saying, hey, buy my computers.
No, wasn't it that Quaker running around chiseling that picture of himself laughing about Thompson's insoluble plates? Nah. See, we're not going to get into it, but there's a fine line between advertising and spam. Yep. And just for the sake of discussion, we're defining spam as unsolicited communication in quantity.
In email.
Not just in email, because you can spam people over IM. You can spam a message board.
But this term spam most specifically refers to email.
I don't know anymore because... blog spam, or is that a separate word, like blogosphere?
Huh, yeah, I guess.
Because it's the same thing.
I think
it's done by the same bots.
People started using the word mostly when because email is the first place that most people were experiencing spam, and then spam sort of got all over everything else as well.
The only thing I would disagree with that is Usenet. Usenet was spam.
Yes, but that's not when it's not when the word entered the vernacular.
Well, when was that? I mean... Where was spam first?
Spam was first in the news groups, but people didn't, really start saying spam a lot or using the word a lot.
Did they? When was the first time someone said spam?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We know that was the first spam, but we don't know that it was the first time someone called it spam. That's a totally different story.
Oh, well, I think email spam and Usenet spam, at least for the sake of discussion, are effectively the same thing.
Yeah, if you want to discuss it on that higher level, sure.
I mean, basically... The problem here, if you break it down, is simply that anytime you have a cost of zero, or effectively zero, to do anything, there is absolutely no disincentive to not do it. At its purest form, that's it. I mean, in the past, it cost money to send a letter to someone. So if you wanted to send a letter to everyone in town saying, buy Thompson's insoluble plates, you had to spend postage. It cost you something. It might not have been much, but it was something. And whenever there's a cost involved, there's diminishing returns and all that sort of business. But with the internet, if you already have an internet connection, it is effectively free to send as much communication as you want 24/7, and there's nothing to stop you.
So if you're going to send out some sort of spam, even if 99.999% of people delete it or ignore it or get it filtered out, if like 3 people read it and like one of those people actually buys the product that you're selling, and spammers are legitimately selling their products. If you try to buy penis pills from spam, you will get them.
Granted, there was that awesome guy who bought the penis pills, tried them, they didn't work, and then he sued the spammer and he eventually caught him.
I wonder what came of that.
I don't know.
Yeah, but the point is that it costs them basically nothing to send these emails out. If they make one sale from that, they just made money for nothing almost. And so if you're a company selling stuff, having a spammer send out a bunch of spam is not the worst market. It's at least with that, you know exactly how much your sales you're getting per dollar spent on the advertising. Whereas with, say, a bulletin board in Times Square, it could bulletin board, billboard in Times Square, you have no idea what that's doing for you. It could do nothing for you. You don't know.
Plus, I mean, not just look at it from the spammer's perspective, but from the sysadmin's perspective, or the normal person's perspective. Think of a nightclub. Imagine a nightclub in a really popular place, like in New York City, in Times Square, on New Year's Eve. Imagine if that nightclub didn't have a cover charge, and no bouncer was at the gate, and there was nothing to stop people from just shoving their way in.
It would just become packed until the fire marshal kicked everyone out.
Or in health insurance in America, there's a thing called a copay, where basically, while your insurance is going to cover like 100% or 99% of whatever your medical stuff is, they often will have this copay where if you go to the doctor, no matter what they cover, you have to pay like $10 or $15.
Yeah, if I go to the doctor, I got to give them like $20 to the doctor every time I go. So if I really need to go to the doctor, I'll go to the doctor and give him $20.
$20 is effectively nothing for me because I don't go to the doctor all the time.
Yeah, but let's say I was a hypochondriac. Would I go to the doctor 5 days a week? No, it's $100 a week. That's a lot of money. So if it was $0 to go to the doctor and I was a hypochondriac, I just live in the doctor's office because I'm crazy and it would cost me nothing.
Now, like, that's why there's so little spam on, say, AOL Instant Messengers. They have this rate limiting thing where any given account, ever try to send someone 1 million messages in IM real quick and notice how it kind of keeps blanking out your send button longer and longer? And
there is a lot of AOL Instant Messenger spam, though.
But not nearly as much as there would be if they didn't limit it like that.
The thing that prevents you from seeing a lot of AOL Instant Messenger spam is the fact that there's a feature that says, don't let me receive messages from people who aren't on my buddy list.
I have never selected that, ever.
No?
And you know what? I got almost no Instant Messenger spam ever, and I put my IM everywhere. It was all over the place on all my websites forever, and I never really got spam.
Yeah. I remember there was a time period where there was a lot of IM spam, and especially on AOL Instant Messenger, but now there's not so much.
Well, back then, I remember they cracked down and they severely decreased the rates. If you try to type a bunch of messages really quick, it doesn't let you. It slows you down. And that way, if you've got spam accounts, they're just going to send spam out. You can't send so many spam out at a time, and eventually you're not going to be able to send anything at all.
Yeah. I think they also added to the default AIM client a sort of warning feature that lets you say, hey, that's a spammer who just messaged me, and I think they've pretty much solved spam on that network.
I remember in high school and even in early RIT, remember those warning wars you'd suddenly get into on AIM with people? Where every now and then, like, I'd message my friend, like, hey, bucko, what's going on? And then he'd be like, warn as many times as possible. Haha, I got you.
Yeah, that was kind of silly. It's another reason not to use AOL Instant Messenger. But anyway, spam is, it's actually kind of surprising how AOL was able to stop spam mostly, I guess, as far as I can see, on their Instant Messenger network. Because it's really hard to stop it anywhere else.
Well, the core reason that AOL could stop it was that it was their network. They owned it. They can make whatever changes they want. They can do whatever they want to the servers. They can change the clients. They can block clients. They have the power. Email, the technological way that email is made, email was designed back in a day when the idea of spam was unheard of. Like the idea of a virus or anything bad.
Well, they thought about it, but they realized that, it was being used on computers that didn't have a lot of power. They were very small amounts of memory and very small amounts of processor being used by a lot of people. And it was a way for a bunch of people who were all using the same computer to send messages to each other. And basically, they expanded that framework to all the way up to working on the internet without really, rewriting it completely, which is what it needed.
I'm talking like in terms of the protocols and all that. It was just that in the early days of the internet, quote unquote, the internet, generally, most everybody knew everybody. And if someone did something shady, like send out 1 million emails, everyone knew who it was, and they just blocked him and got rid of him.
Yeah, people did think about the potential for spam, but, they didn't do anything about it, or they didn't have the processing, the computer resources to do anything about it.
Well, when the internet was a closed garden, it was very difficult to get away with crap like that in general.
Yep.
And email has not changed since then. The way, and like one of the things was open relays, which that is a problem that has finally been solved just by everyone blocked anyone who had an open relay. But back in the day, email was set up to be super reliable, and the email would get there come rain or sleet nor
because every email server was an open relay, which meant if it got an email message and the email message wasn't for someone using that server, then the email server would pass it on its way to whatever email server it's supposed to go to. So you would have these email servers just passing messages all around to each other, and the email message would always get there because there were so many email servers that there was always a way for the message to get to its destination. However, the problem is that because of all these open relays, anyone could send a message to anyone using any server, any bajillion number of servers, without you being able to know who sent it, or they could pretend they sent it to someone else, and it
used to be really easy. I used to often send email to people with just completely forged headers, and no one could tell.
Yep.
Of course, those days are long gone, luckily.
Now everyone's disabled the open relays, but the thing is the internet is much more reliable, and TCP/IP is better, so people, your mail server connects directly to the destination mail
Wait,
server.
TCP/IP is better? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
How is TCP/IP better than it was then?
Well, it's not. The protocol itself is not better, but the fact that the internet, that there's not a bunch of dial-up modems, and now it's a bunch of fiber awesomes.
Because the way you said that, I was thinking TCP/IP hasn't changed.
Yeah, but back in the day, you try to make a TCP/IP connection, it was not so reliable. Sometimes you get timeouts and things just because the internet sucked, and now because the internet doesn't suck, and if you use TCP/IP, 99% chance, even better than that, the message is going to get through.
But in terms of email spam, I never really cared about it because, to be honest, and I guess Scott, myself, and John C. Dvorak are very similar in this regard. We never really got spam.
Well, back in the ancient AOL days, I got spam.
See, I never had AOL.
When I was a little kid using AOL, it didn't really bother me. I didn't care. I didn't use my email for anything important. I didn't check it all that often.
I never got spam on Prodigy.
I mostly just played Gemstone, and I didn't read the emails.
Yeah.
Then at RIT, I was getting spams. At first, I didn't get any spams. I had that, brand new email account at RIT, not so many spam. But then spam started pouring in from all the people who were sending it to everyone at RIT or to random things at RIT. So I started using a spam filter, like the one that comes in Thunderbird. And I stopped getting spam because it was all filtered out.
For me, I didn't bother because, to be perfectly honest, once I got to college, I almost entirely stopped using email, and I did everything through IM. And anytime, I never checked my email because
there were just different things I did through IM than what I did through email.
The only things I did through email were automated things and interaction with businesses, but never talking to people.
Yeah, I never really talked to people with the email at college.
Now I do.
Yeah, now I do. But
we'll get to that.
Yeah, but when I was in college, email was not for talking to human. Well, I guess talking to professors, but I never talked to friends with it, or family.
See, I didn't use email to talk to professors. I never talked to professors, but
I didn't do it that often either.
Yeah,
but there were a couple rare occasions.
We were in IT, so we had to use first class.
Oh, right. But yeah, I used it to talk to professors a few times and, things like that. But it was always for business communications, is what I used email for in college. Never for personal communications. And there was spam, but it was all filtered out. So it was filtered out. What's the problem? I don't know.
But I started using email again with Gmail and all that. And I'm not going to get into the whole why I use email again, why Gmail is awesome and all that business. But I'm going to say this. If spam is a problem for you, there is really only one solution you need to even consider, and that is using Gmail. I don't want to sound like a Google fanboy, but Gmail blocks almost all the spam in the world, and it's almost never wrong, and it's far and away the best free email thing out there.
Yeah, and sometimes when I do get a spam, like sometimes like a spam will get through. I mark it as spam, and sometimes like for a day or two, someone will figure out a way to get a specific type of spam into Google, right? And I'll get like a few of those, maybe 3 messages that are all similar, in a couple days, and I'll mark them all as spam, and then they're gone, and it's such a small amount that I don't even recognize. It doesn't even register in my mind. It's not like in the olden days where you had to be like delete, 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 delete. Now it's just I mark 1 message as spam maybe a week. That's a lot actually, right? Like 1 a month. And I don't even notice it.
Yeah, and consider this. We have, Geeknights at frontrecruit.com and Geeknights at gmail.com. The sheer amount of spam that is hitting those 2 addresses.
Oh, if I look in the spam, let's look at the spam folder. Let me go look.
Absolutely ludicrous, the amount of spam that hits those things, but Gmail's filter is just freaking amazing.
Yep. Let's go look in this little hang.
Yeah, how many did we get in the last, I don't know, whatever interval is convenient for you to look at?
Well, my spam folder currently has, here, let's look at today. About a page of spam in the past 24 hours.
Wow.
So, let's see, is this, I think, 100 messages here about, I guess?
That's quite a bit of spam.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, maybe 100 spams a day. That's a lot.
I think the thing that really got me about spam when I was in RIT was that, partly because I checked my email all over campus, and partly because RIT was the way it was, I usually just SSH'd or telnetted into one of the big Unix boxes and then ran Pine or Elm to check my email. So deleting a bunch of spams was really annoying.
Yeah. I only did that when there was no alternative.
Well, plus back then Thunderbird wasn't so great yet, and it crashed a lot.
Well, there was a period of time where I used Eudora, and there was a period of time where I was using like the Squirrel
As
Mail
long as I was at RIT, I pretty much only used Pine and Elm.
Yeah, I used a bunch of different clients, and now eventually just settled with the Gmail and give everything else the finger.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on. I mean, Google would have to do something pretty fucking evil for me to leave Gmail.
Yeah, oh well.
Well, think about it. The worst thing Google can do to me is tell the truth. They could reveal all my emails. Oh no, look, Rim made fun of that one podcast that he's friends with the people who do it, but he doesn't like their show.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still weird that, there are some people out there who are still complaining about spam, and it's like, you have a filter. They all work.
You want to know something scary? At work, I was explaining to someone that Google has an email thing called Gmail.
Wow.
And I learned that almost no one at my job knows about or uses Gmail. They all have like Yahoo accounts or Hotmail accounts, and they just don't work. One guy just doesn't have the internet at home.
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah, I'll send you an email if I need whatever in the morning. And he's like, I can't check my email till I get into work. I can't fathom that. I'm sorry.
Well, they can't fathom us not having cable. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But obviously and clearly we're right and they're wrong.
Obviously. Well, actually, there's something else I want to talk about. Is I saw this word. It seems like someone's intentionally trying to coin this word. It's not like one of those words that's coined, I guess naturally or organically.
Like meat space or spam.
Right. Basically, they're trying to coin this word bacon. B-A-C-N. Not B-A-C-O-N. B-A-C-N. And...
No.
Well...
No. Thumbs down.
Well, anyway, what it refers to, I think that we do need a word for this. I don't know if bacon is the right word, but all those emails that you get that aren't spam, but they're not real emails either. Like, your registration with the forum, here's your activation code, or here is your weekly update something, or here is the email from Kron, or here is, the notification that you got a message on some website.
I gotta say, I don't need a word for that, because to be honest, I just set up filters to where all those things are put into relevant categories, and then I don't even think about them.
Yeah, I also do the same thing. However, there's some people out there who are trying to think up perhaps a more intuitive and useful way to handle all the sort of bacon messages.
I'm okay calling it bacon, but B-A-C-O-N.
Yeah, they call it B-A-C-N.
Taking the O out does not make it cooler.
It makes it Web 2.0.
No, that's like Web 2.7. Because it's not semantic yet, and it's not useful like Web 2.0. It's just stupid.
Yeah. But in some ways, I think bacon is the new spam. I mean, if I look at my email, right?
But that's not spam. I want it.
Some of it I want, and some of it I don't.
What don't you want? Then it's spam if you didn't want it.
But see, that's sort of the thing. It's like I didn't want it, but I sort of signed up for it. Like, look, here's an invoice I get every month with the hosting bill on it, right? I don't ever look at it. it just fills up my inbox with more messages. But it's not spam because it's not an unsolicited someone trying to sell me something. It's just a message in my inbox that I really don't want to see. So
Well, that's for record keeping. You don't need to see it. For all those things, what I do is I set up a filter.
I
where
do have a filter,
it skips
but it's still there.
I have a label, a category it goes into. It skips my inbox and goes straight there, and it's already marked as read, so I don't even look in there. But if I need to look up, for whatever reason, an old invoice or an old record, they're all there, ready to go.
Yeah.
I have infinite space
I do
on
the
Gmail.
same thing, but I think there could be a way of handling them more
Well, like what?
gracefully.
'Cause
I don't know. That's why people are
No,
thinking about it.
they're not going to want to host a website that archives all that crap for you to look at on a moment's
No,
notice.
they don't need to do that. There's things we could do with these messages that I think
Like
could
what?
be
They're
pretty
giving them to
great.
you. If you wanted, you could set up a thing that automatically deleted
Not something
them.
they can do, something we can do on
Yeah, you know
our
what?
receiving
You know what you
end.
should do? Take them, have them automatically populate some database you've got, and delete from your email.
You could do something like that. That's a
Yeah,
good idea.
do that then.
Something like that. But yeah, people are working on something like that.
Eh.
Ways to handle bacon that is interesting.
As long as you're saying the O in the bacon, I'm cool with whatever you do.
Yeah, they're spelling it BACN to be cool.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
And I think I can resist that one because it's not a name change; it's a name coining.
It is.
It's not like the Revolution or Capstone or Physical Plant
Oh, physical plant.
or
You mean facilities management services.
or that Phoenix web browser that was so awesome.
Oh man, that was the best web browser.
I love that web
It's
browser.
a lot better than shitty ass Firefox.
Someone should bring it
crashing.
back. Firebird wasn't so great, but Phoenix, that was where it was at.
That was definitely where it was at. Do you have anything else to say about spam?
Not really.
People who send it are kind of scummy, but on the other hand, a lot of the people who receive, there are some places that send, there's unsolicited spam, but then there's you signed up for it and now you're getting it spam, which is, I sort of don't have sympathy for those people, but also because they should be filtering.
Yeah, but the answer, once again, just use Gmail. There's no reason not to.
There is one more thing to discuss, and that is some people out there do want to send legitimate mass emails. You know, it's not spam, usually bacon, actually. There's someone who has a legitimate reason to send email to a lot of people, and because of anti-spam measures by, say, AOL and Yahoo and Google, you need to jump through these tremendous hoops of all sorts to get whitelisted by these people,
Well,
or else all your emails get blocked.
My take on that, and I've always been this way, and I've noticed that culturally on the internet, there's been a shift toward this way of thinking. Not quite to my extent, but in the early days of spam, there were two camps. There was there's a bunch of ways you could break it up or call them different things, but on one side, there are the people who believe that getting all the email intended for you is more important than blocking all the spam. And on the other end, blocking all the spam is more important than getting all of the email sent to you. And I have always been one of those people. I would rather not see any spam and miss the occasional email that looked like a spam than ever get spam but not miss email.
Yes, I agree. As an email receiver, I agree that I would rather see no spam and miss a few emails intended for me.
Now, originally,
However,
the culture was the opposite, and I just think the internet culture has shifted lately, and people basically got so fed up with spam that they said, you know what? Fine, block it all. I don't give a shit. Block all of China, because I'm not going to get email from there anyway, and that kind of business.
However, as an email sender, it is frustrating. For example, our forum, when you sign up for our forum, it sends you an email that says, congratulations, you have been approved. Your forum membership is clear. You can go sign in. If using Hotmail, you don't get that message because their spam filter filters us out.
But again,
it's not spam.
The answer is Gmail, because Gmail blocks almost none of that.
I know, but it's see, as a reader, I use Gmail, but I can't force anyone else to use it. So I am in a situation where I am forced. I have a message I want to send to someone using Hotmail. I really want it to get through, so they know that they're approved for the forum. They want it to get through, but it's not happening, and it is frustrating that my non-spam is treated as spam, and in order to get that undone is such a crazy amount of work, it's not worth it.
I guess I'm just of the mind of I'd rather screw the senders than the receivers. Because if the receivers keep getting screwed, there's just people will stop using email.
Yep. Oh, well. And the thing is, there's no other way to, contact these people.
I block with a broad brush. At RIT, I actually blocked any email, pretty much any email from outside of the United States at one point. Because that's where all the spam came from back then, and I didn't receive email from people outside of the U.S. back then, and the few people I knew overseas that I wanted to talk to, I used AIM, so I just blocked it all. And now Gmail, I don't have to worry, but I'll like ad block, right? If I ever see an ad, I block that entire domain at the lowest level.
Yeah, I'm sure that probably makes some web pages look pretty ugly.
Oh, it does, but you know what? A lot of those web pages, they don't look ugly because it's just text now, and there's no graphics.
It's pretty good stuff.
The only thing I don't do that for is Fart, because I like to see the little Florida tag.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think we're done talking about spam here. If you get spam, you suck.
Use Gmail.
Use some technology. It all works really well. If you send spam, you suck. And if you're trying to send something that's being blocked as spam, that's frustrating.
And if you, the only other thing, if you're trying to have a mailing list, like an email list, those are so obsolete.
Oh, yeah.
Like, seriously, dude.
Get a forum or a blog or
Get a forum
with some RSS.
Or an RSS or a blog. Or if you're going to do a mailing list, do it through Gmail with collaboration or something. Don't just do a straight up like list. Because,
yeah, the old school listservs are not cool. They should all die in a fire.
Like, the only people who use...
Some people have, like, the listserv news group integration where it's sort of like they get copied to each other.
News groups are equally obsolete.
Yeah, I don't know why so many people still use them.
IBM uses them internally, but that was kind of cool. But in the real world, news groups are no longer useful. There's far better technology.
Yeah, I don't even know. News servers are just so confusing.
Well, like that whole side of the internet, you know, listservs, news groups, and IRC. All that's left over there are people who don't know there are better solutions and really, really shady people doing really, really shady things because the authorities don't really know how to deal with that old stuff.
Yeah, that's the old underground, like, original internet communication protocol stuff. And it's basically a bunch of nerds and a bunch of underground action that's not
We
cool.
should talk about the old days of IRC. Those were not good days.
No, not good days. Now the only IRC that's worth going to is, like, Freenode, which is just a bunch of open source people.
Yeah, but even then, I don't care enough.
I don't go there unless there's no other solution I can find.
I'm never going to load up Merc or Perch again, ever.
I could just use, my AIM client to go on there.
Nah, yeah. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Odeo. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.